tumbled out of his era into prehistoric times, and so he made the choice. Bruce Wayne would be the conduit the Bat-God would use to invade the positive multiverse. Barbados then engineered events across Bruce's life history to ensure he becomes Batman. For instance, he was the Bat that Bruce saw the night he decided to don the cowl. Using the Court of Owls, who had been worshipping him since their days as the Tribe of Judas, and a few other select entities, Barbados was able to mantle Bruce, turning him into the doorway between universes, thereby invading Prime Earth with his Dark Knights, and using his anti-music to send Prime Earth permanently into the Dark Multiverse. In the end, the Bat-God was defeated at the Forge of Worlds by the Trinity, who were able to harness the strength of all the powerful Element X to pull Prime Earth out of the Dark Multiverse and chain the creator of Batman to its hallowed grounds, cursing him to witness his failure for eternity. The Batman Who Laughs. A Batman who laughs is a Batman who always wins. Even though Barbados was powerful enough to be capable of warping reality and creating entire nightmare dimensions on his own, the threat he posed to the multiverse can be considered his child's play compared to the machinations of his second-in-command. The Batman Who Laughs was voted Villain of the Year by DC Fandom in 2019. He is intelligent, brutal, and bat-crap crazy. Pun very much intended. On Earth 22, Bruce Wayne's worst fears have been realized. After finding out that he's dying, the Joker turns Gotham City into Pompeii right before the eruption. He's causing explosions all over the joint, gunning down couples that are out with their children, and then injecting the children with Joker toxin as the sickest mockery of Bruce Wayne's most painful life experience. By doing all this, he succeeds in his life's mission. He gets Bruce to break his rule and kill him, but not before making Bruce just like himself. When Bruce snapped the Joker's neck, he inhaled an ultra-refined version of the toxin, whose effects were practically irreversible, and it gave birth to the worst version of the Crown Prince of Crime, Bruce Wayne himself. As the last vestiges of sanity left the mind of the world's greatest detective, he assembled his Bat family and killed them in cold blood, except David, who he turned into a defendant. His personal service. He then proceeded to kill the rest of the League, reserving a particularly horrifying fate for Superman, and rounded up all the infected children and made them his grovelings, donning a visor that allowed him to peer into the veil between realities. The Batman Who Laughs joined Barbados' quest to conquer or to destroy the multiverse with relenting enthusiasm, and kept it well after his master was dead. He is the worst nightmare of any superhero or supervillain alive. A Batman whose moral code is replaced by the Joker's, and that makes him one of the scariest and coolest evil Batman of all time. Saint Batman. Not a lot of people took to John Paul Valley, taking up the mantle of Batman during the seminal Nightfall storyline, to the point Azrael had to be stopped by a rebuilt Bruce Wayne before his madness led to any more deaths, or led to the people of Gotham City not trusting the Batman to save them. That is, in a positive universe, things always shake out differently in the dark multiverse, and are one of the few depraved versions of Earth that exist within it. Bruce Wayne failed to reclaim his mantle, that faithful knight in the bowels of the Batcave. Instead, he was broken in body and mind, literally, by the man who would go on to give Gotham City her independence. As Saint Batman, John Paul Valley turned Gotham into an independent theocracy centered around the dogma of the Order of St. Dumas, positioning himself as the right hand of God that would dispense a brutal form of justice to any criminal in sight. Under his dark reign, Gotham is overrun by zealots and fanatics on one hand, who are loyal to the teachings of their new savior. On the other hand is the Resistance, which fights on to protect the rest of their city from the rantings of this mad tyrant. After breaking Bruce's back, much like Bane did in the original series, he sets about killing every last member of Batman's infamous rogue galleries, and then isolates his kingdom from the rest of the world, which was already dying thanks to the viruses and plagues. Along the way, he picks up habits from his fallen enemies, particularly Bane, whose venom addiction is practically inherited by John Paul Valley. In the course of a couple of decades, he achieves something Bruce Wayne never could. He decisively ends Batman's crusade against crime by delivering the criminals themselves and turning the city back into the mighty beacon of strength it once was, something even his predecessor admits. Saint Batman is the antithesis of Batman, fanatical, forceful, and remorseless in the face of death. But he's also fulfilled every goal Bruce set out for himself in the first place. He gained everything and watched the world burn to get there, and that is what makes him so evil. The Batman who Frags. Now, this is one fragging bastard we would never want to come across. In the one-shot Dark Knights, Death Metal Infinite, our Extreme issue number 1, we meet the most bombastic version of the main man himself. Or should we call him the Batman himself? Because after all, this is a version of Bruce Wayne that possesses the same bloodlust as Lobo. On one of the Earths, trapped in the Dark Universe, Bruce Wayne injected himself with Zarnian DNA. His hope was to gain their godlike healing factor, to help augment his human body, to the point he could do this all day, without losing himself to fatigue or death. Unfortunately for him, the Zarnian he chose was Lobo, and after their respective DNAs commingled, Bruce Wayne transformed into a demented, alcohol-swilling, gun-toting son of a bastard who chose to murder his villains instead of sending them to Arkham Asylum. And he rather appropriately started calling himself the Batman Who Frags. This evil version of Batman introduces himself to the prime version of Lobo during the second Dark Knight's invasion, while he is on a quest to retrieve the fabled Death Metal for Lex Luthor, thanks to his newfound Zarnian abilities. The most Lobo can do to this Bat-Stitch is delay his approach, though he did manage to stab him with his own stupid Batarang to make a getaway. After following Lobo through a couple of dimensional portals and annoying the frag out of everyone he encounters while doing so, the Batman Who Frags end up suffering a fate worse than death. After coming into contact with the Death Metal and being informed of its awesome powers by Brainiac, Lobo creates his own pocket dimension and calls it Loboland. In this new dimension, the JLA are replaced by lobotomized versions of themselves. The